Since its inception all the way back in the halcyon days of 2004, Facebook has become one of the greatest hubs of communication, language as a whole, and the written word. Countless words and phrases are typed onto Facebook on a daily basis, whether that be via status updates, tags in photos, and of course, the many words pumped into its search bar. You can pretty much put anything into Facebook's search bar and some kind of result will come up. It can range from the name of someone you kind of remember from school, the title of a film you think no one else remembers, only to find out it has its own dedicated fan page, to some really odd Facebook groups. A personal favourite of mine has to be things full of beans that shouldn't be full of beans. Facebook seemingly has a result for any word you wish to type into it, but there are words that Facebook really don't want you typing. Facebook has a selection of banned words, most of which seemingly relate to advertising on the website. Most of these are pretty obvious and expected. Racial words, words of offence in general, swear words, the usual suspects. Yet there are two words in particular that are very strange in the case of words Facebook aren't happy about. These are two incredibly unassuming words that Facebook really do not want you to type into their search engine. Two words that on the surface are seemingly incredibly innocent, but in reality are used for a far more awful, unpleasant, and quite honestly, heartbreaking reason. Those being the words of chicken soup. Now, in a vacuum, there is nothing all that sinister about chicken soup. It's an incredibly popular dish, a comfort food to many, something you eat or drink on a rainy afternoon or when you are feeling unwell. According to Wikipedia, we've probably been eating chicken soup since the Neolithic period. I imagine many people would presume that searching for chicken soup on Facebook would bring up countless recipes for the classic dish. This, of course, isn't the case. Searching this simple term on Facebook instead brings up a pretty ominous warning. With the first line of it reading, "We think that your search might be associated with CSA. Yeah, for YouTube monetization reasons, I'm not going to actually say any of these words. In fact, even if I don't say these words, there's a chance YouTube might demonetize this video anyway, due to the topic of it. Yet, I still want to make this video regardless, as it's something that's pretty important, and that I feel needs to be talked about and shared. If you want to support Name Explain and allow me to do this for a living and be able to cover these sorts of topics, please do consider donating on Patreon. But for this video, let's just stick with initials when it comes to talking about these sensitive subjects. I'm sure we'll all manage. So with all of that out of the way, what on earth is going on here? Why does typing chicken soup into Facebook show us a warning about something as incredibly awful and serious as CSA? As mentioned, in a vacuum there really isn't anything all that evil about chicken soup. Yet these words have been taken out of their vacuum and taken away from the world of culinary comfort. They're used as a code word for photos, videos, and content in general relating to CSA. On various awful corners of the internet, people have been using the term chicken soup when sharing these kinds of images and videos to avoid detection from authorities and from the sites themselves. Obviously, Facebook does not want this kind of stuff on their platform. So to combat people sharing this awful stuff on their website, they have filters and automatic detection bots in place to pick up on anything suspicious and remove it as quickly as possible. One of the key ways in which these bots detect inappropriate content is through search words within them. Words have always been easier for computers to detect than images and videos. It's why Google's image search came a few years after their text-based search. So when these bots detect any words they deem offensive, in our case words relating to CSA, they can immediately scrub them from their site. Yet the scumbags involved with this stuff are all too aware of this fact, so instead of outright using any of these terms directly, they attempted to hide it behind the term of chicken soup. This is an incredibly innocuous, unassuming set of words that were/are probably written on Facebook many times a day. On the surface, it has no relation to CSA, meaning Facebook's bots wouldn't pick it up on their searches. This is why the term of chicken soup was used, so these awful people could propagate their awful images and not be detected. Yet, those involved in all of this would know what chicken soup really meant, even if Facebook's bots didn't. Thankfully, Facebook picked up on this term people were using and added it to the list of banned words that ought to be flagged up when searched. In fact, they went so hard on the term that even an innocent person searching for chicken soup recipes on Facebook will be given the aforementioned warning, which I can only imagine has caused an awful lot of distress and confusion for people across the globe who aren't all that clued up on this issue, especially considering the warning doesn't give you context as to why chicken soup is so bad. What's interesting is that other websites haven't seemingly been as strict. I searched chicken soup on Google, YouTube, Reddit, Instagram, and Twitter, or whatever it's being called when you're watching this video, to see what came up. And on the whole, all you get were images, videos, and recipes for actual chicken soup, along with a sprinkling of people asking why they can't search chicken soup on Facebook. I found this especially interesting in Instagram's case, as it's owned by Facebook, so I presume they would have the same guidelines and warnings. I imagine other platforms aren't seemingly as strict because they may have better infrastructure in the first place for detecting these things, or it may be due to the fact that Facebook has historically had a lot more scrutiny put on it through the years, which is incredibly reasonable. Facebook has been at the center of more scandals than I care to actually think about. This could mean that when an issue arises at Facebook, they come down on it much harder, while other platforms fly more under the scrutiny radar. There are some chicken soup related things on Facebook, however. I have no idea how badly their SEO has been affected with this warning sign. This includes a private group called Chicken Soup, which claims to be a place for Jewish students to let off steam during the coronavirus outbreak. It's private, so I don't know how active it is today. There's also the Chicken Soup Choir too. I also found another private group called Chicken Soup for the Soul. Their info box wasn't as clear about what it was actually about, so I asked to join to check everything was above board, but at the time of recording they are yet to accept me. It's also worth noting that if you search terms like chicken soup recipe, then they appear with no warning. I could also check some more dubious places, but I really don't want to. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm on some kind of surveillance list for searching chicken soup so many times now anyway. But jokes aside, this is really gross, and just making this video has made me feel pretty sad. Though I would rather it be just me doing this research and reporting back to you all, as opposed to everyone messing around on the internet for themselves and stumbling upon some really awful stuff. And off script, for the record, upon all my searching for this, I didn't stumble across any actual CSA or anything like that. Just making that clear out there. Thankfully, all these websites do a pretty good job at getting this stuff off of their websites and not making it apparent for just casual searches. So that's good at least, I guess. Okay, back to the scripted part of this video. The use of the term chicken soup in the realm of CSA is part of a wider concept known as coded language. This is when groups of people, usually within illegal circles, use normally unassuming words in place of what they are actually talking about to evade the ears and eyes of the law. One of the more notable examples of coded language seen regularly is the term of massage parlor. While there are many fine establishments that give people wonderful relaxing massages, there are also many found in more seedier places. Small shops with signs reading massage parlor outside, which is a code name for a very different intimate activity which takes place within those walls. Yet the law or police officers can't go bursting in with no evidence of wrongdoing because, to the outside world, it is just an honest massage parlor, despite the fact we all know what is really going on in there. Coded language is all around us and used in many different contexts, often with negative implications. Though the strangest question we need to answer in all of this is why was the term of chicken soup used in relation to CSA? Like, out of all the code words that could have been picked up on, why chicken soup? Well, we aren't entirely sure. Coded language usually comes into being to be as ambiguous as possible, though normally it contains the slightest hint towards what's actually being talked about. This is so these words don't raise suspicion, but those in the know are aware of what words to look out for. Take the massage parlor example again. Massage parlors are normally places where a pretty intimate activity takes place, hence why it's used in coded language. The leading reason as to why chicken soup got used in relation to CSA is thought to not relate to chicken soup directly, but instead to the Spanish translation of the dish's name, caldo de pollo. The initials of this term are CP, and these initials are too often used in relation to CSA. The C in CP stands for the same thing it does in CSA, and the P stands for yet another word I don't want to risk saying. Seriously, I'm trying as best as possible to not anger YouTube with this one, but I'm sure you have a good idea what that P might stand for. The earliest evidence we have for chicken soup or caldo de pollo being used in reference to CSA or CP comes from just 2020, so this is a relatively recent thing. This comes from a 2020 NBC News article on the matter, which I found through Snopes. Snopes is a terrific article on this issue, and this video couldn't have been made without it, so God bless Snopes. Before too long, the fact these awful people were using the term chicken soup in relation to CSA became wider knowledge, and eventually Facebook caught wind of this fact too. Facebook seemingly added this warning when you search for chicken soup in 2023, and it's around this time that people innocently searching for chicken soup on Facebook noticed it too. This issue only came onto my radar when I saw a meme about it literally the other day on Facebook itself. And for those wondering, just searching caldo de pollo brings up the same same warning too, even if your Facebook profile is set to English like mine. I did also search chicken soup in some other languages, but no warnings came up. It's very easy to make Facebook the butt of jokes these days, and trust me, they're pretty terrible in their own way for a whole variety of reasons. But to give them the credit in this one instance, they're actually doing something to help stop the spread of CSA on their platform, and even making other people aware of the issue by showing them this warning when they search for chicken soup. Though it probably sucks for people genuinely just trying to share their chicken soup recipes. The final thing I need to stress is that this is a really heavy and disturbing subject, but it's something that is really worth talking about. It's a sad reminder of just how easily language can be manipulated and simple words used for evil. I love language, I'm sure you know that, but in many cases, this terrific invention of ours doesn't get used for good. If anything I've mentioned in this video affects you or someone you know, then please find help and support. The International Center for Missing and Exploited Children have a page on their website featuring helplines for those who might need them from countries all across the globe.